welcome to Brain Food, where I tell you what's yummy and nutritious for your head. When I was a kid, my family moved from Newfoundland on the east coast all the way over to northern British Columbia, which is on the west coast of Canada. And my channel selection jumped from 5 or 10 channels up to 30. Now believe you me, back in the late 80s, if you were a kid, that was a huge thing. And one of the channels that I had on basic cable was TBS, the Turner Broadcasting System. And on that channel, I saw my very first Godzilla movie. Now, I can't recall which Godzilla movie it was, only that it was from the Showa era. That is, the series of Godzilla movies made in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And let me tell you, I gobbled it up. Because holy smoke, it was a giant monster fighting another giant monster for the fate of the world. Or just Japan. As I grew older, I came to appreciate the craftsmanship that went into the building of the miniature sets and landscapes, of the dedication by the suit actors in the putting on those big heavy suits, which often resulted in many a near drowning during filming set at sea, and the importance of a strong human narrative to carry the movie in between all the monster bits. As such, I'm always up for a good kaiju story, so when Amazon recommended Project Nemesis by Jeremy Robinson with art by Matt Frank, I thought, hey, why not? This could be good. Unfortunately, it ended up being a mixed bag for me. Project Nemesis is a kaiju-human hybrid created to give a dying general one last chance at a better life that, well, goes awry when the hybrid escapes. And it is very angry, very hungry, and ever-changing. This is discovered by a small-town sheriff and a Department of Homeland Security agent named Hudson.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? We're some real pretty shit now, man.
Oh, no, not that Hudson, although that would have been really hilarious. This Department of Homeland Security agent named Hudson is from Department P, which stands for Preternatural, which was an addition to the Department of Homeland Security creation, and as such is treated as no more than, well, Agent Mulder's basement office in the X-Files was. Heck, Agent Hudson himself has this to say about his time with Department P. In the past 5 years, I've basically sat on my ass and traveled around the country, taking many vacations while looking for various mythical creatures. So it's something of a shock when Agent Hudson, along with Willowdale Sheriff Collins, gets when they come across this hybrid. And things tend to go downhill from there quite quickly. Overall, the action is really well done, most of the characters are likable and fun, and the tension rises steadily at a natural progression that never comes across as awkward, clumsy, or forced. The artwork by Matt Frank, who has done a number of other Godzilla series for IDW Comics, is scattered throughout the book, giving us an idea of what this kaiju-human hybrid looks like as it evolves and grows. And you can actually see the influence that the various Godzilla movies he's seen as a kid growing up has had in him in the creation of this kaiju hybrid. So, why is it a mixed bag for me? Because there's an underlying thread of misogyny in this book and its treatment of the women within it. Yes, while both men and women are munched upon by the kaiju hybrid like so many handfuls of meaty pretzels, there's a sense of disrespect and tragedy written into almost every female character in this story, from those that are eaten right up to Sheriff Collins herself, who tags along with Agent Hudson throughout the entirety of the story. For example, let's take a look at the truck that he named Betty. Why did he name her Betty? Yeah, I named my truck. Betty was the name of my first girlfriend. Like this truck, she had a grating voice and a high-maintenance personality. Despite girlfriend Betty being easier on the eyes, I stayed with her for only 6 months. Pickup truck Betty talks less and doesn't complain when I turn her on. And then, of course, there's his view of his partner in Department P for their part of the United States, Ann Cooper, who he describes after comparing her in regards to his other partner, Ted. I'm pretty sure he got posted on my team because, like me, he doesn't exactly fit the company profile. And Cooper, on the other hand, does. Cooper, who I call Coop mostly because it bothers her, is a straight-laced administrator who does things by the book, even though so little of our mandate is in any book not written by a fiction author, a lunatic, or both. Sheriff Collins, who is smart, brave, resourceful, quite a bit of an insightful detective herself, and an excellent hand-to-hand combatant, has an origin that's mired in tragedy, as she relates to Hudson during one of the quieter moments of the book. The short version is that my husband was psychotic, like actually psychotic. He nearly killed the mailman when he found the guy in the house, thought I was screwing him. And before you ask, no, I wasn't. The poor guy was 62. He was in the house because it was hot and he looked close to passing out. I offered him a lemonade. My ex went to jail for aggravated assault. Got 5 years. He's been out for 2. Wasn't just the mailman, though, I say. Was it? She shakes her head. I was in the hospital for 3 days. Lots of damage. Nothing permanent. I wanted to be ready if he came to fight me, so I became a cop and learned how to fight. There's also a single line that I found to be really rather disturbing that depicts the scene in which a man and a woman are swallowed alive by Nemesis. Mayor Reed, the woman said. Where are we? He wasn't entirely sure, but he was beginning to suspect. A sound above them drew the woman's attention, and the flashlight beamed up. The light arrived just in time to reveal the ceiling of their wet cage opening up. Then a headless horse fell through. The large animal slammed on top of Reed, crushing him beneath the murky liquid, which found its way into his lungs and gut, mercifully drowning him before slowly digesting him. The woman survived for another 3 hours. However, the worst example was in the character of Margot Tilly herself, whose DNA was used to fuse with the kaiju DNA to create the hybrid in the first place. We find out almost nothing about Margot Tilly as a character, except that she had an abusive father who beat her mother, and then killed her before killing Margot herself. This becomes the driving motivation for Nemesis to carve out its path of destruction across the state of Maine. It's as though the only reason for Margot's existence is to be rage and pain and anger to drive Nemesis to do what, well, all kaiju do best, which is wreck on humanity. It would have been something had we seen more of Margot evolve within Nemesis, but what growth there is minimum at best. It just comes across as really gross and demeaning to the character of Margot Tilly, and it becomes the main sticking point upon which I cannot recommend this book, however technically well written it is. Now, to Jeremy Robinson's credit, he did reach out to me when he saw my criticisms of his book on Twitter, and we had a brief discussion upon it, in which he did not brush aside or ignore my criticism on his book. Regardless, I still can't go on and continue on with the series. In a way, it reminds me of my experiences with other series that had dull, bad beginnings, such as Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The Legend of Korra, Community. If you got a bad beginning, I'm just not going to be sticking around for the rest of the series to see it improve. You've just lost my interest. If more attention had been given to Margot Tilly as a well-rounded character instead of a single-minded plot device, if Agent Hudson hadn't been so casually misogynistic, or even sexist in some cases, towards the women in his life, I might have recommended this book. But as it is, I can't. Now you're free to go ahead and buy this book and see if you agree with my opinions or you're not. That is your choice. But as for me, I can't continue on with this series. I'm Turbo J, and that's all I've got left to say. Take care.